You're still addicted to the 20th century. High from its harshness, buzzed by its brutality.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time. This is another Historathon 2023 video, so I'm putting them in a playlist. So if you are interested in history, then you will be able to access the other videos I've done through the year on the Historathon 2023. So we are now at the last quarter. So the event was a year-long event that was divided into quarters. It was created by Vin from Revenant Reads, and there's a whole bunch of co-hosts that have been doing it, and I'll link those co-hosts below in the description. But we've been reading history books through the year. I came back to history after a gap, so I have a degree in history, which I did a video about some of my favourite books from the bachelor's degree I did. And I have basically slacked off a little bit with this event. So in the last quarter, hardly happened for me as far as history books. So I'm going to make up for it with Q4 this last quarter. And what I'd like to do is come back to some of those other periods at the end if I can. So I'm going to tell you some of the stuff that I'm going to consider reading, my sort of possible TBR for the last quarter, and then hopefully I'll have some time at the end as well to go back a little bit and read some of the things I wanted to read that I didn't get to read in the other periods. There's another couple of things I want to do in the Historathon before it finishes, so I do want to do a video which is about how to learn about history through cartoons. So I've got quite a lot of historical cartoons books, so I'm going to look at that in a video, so I think that'll be really interesting. And at the beginning of the year I did say to Pax that I was going to do a video about witchcraft, some of the books that I've got on witchcraft and like the witch trials and things like that. So I'm going to do that in memory of Pax. So this isn't part of the Q4, that's a previous period, but I'm going to do that as well. But I'm going to tell you about some of the books that I'll be looking at from the Q4 period. So just to kind of clarify this, so it's split into 4 quarters, and this last quarter is basically reading material that date from 1820 to the present day. So there's so much. Obviously the 20th century was very eventful, so there's all sorts of things you can read, and there's a little bit of a thread in what I'm reading. A lot of it's about immigration, because I do think that's really interesting, and it's always going to be a hot topic because ultimately it's always a political potato, if you know the phrase, and you know, immigrants get blamed for all sorts of things. So I do think it's an interesting subject. So there's a lot of that going on in some of this reading. So I don't know if I've put this in much of an order yet. Have I put this in much of an order yet? There's some American things here. What's this? Yeah, I do. Yeah, so the American stuff's there. Right, okay, so start off with, I've mentioned this one before, but you might not have seen the other video, so I'm going to just mention The Good Old Days. So this is a video by this is a book by Gilda O'Neill, The Good Old Days, and it's crime, murder and mayhem in Victorian London. So this was a second-hand book that I found that I picked up that looked really interesting. So I'm going to read that one. Staying with Britain, this is a really interesting book that I found called Balti Britain, and it's about the Asian experience, being like a British Indian or British Asian of Bangladeshi descent or something like that, and it sort of looks at the journey of immigration from Asia into Britain and how it's affected Britain, and you know, the influence of this particular immigration on Britain, and they're a huge part of our culture. And you know, some people have said that Indian curry is the national dish. It's said not in jest, but as a comment on how ingrained Asian culture is in our British culture. So it'll be a really interesting read. So I'm going to read this, Balti Britain. So I'm looking forward to reading this. And then in a similar vein, but this is written by lots of different people. So this is like an anthology of lots of different writing on the subject. And this is a book called Good Immigrant. And it's basically lots of people commenting on the subject of immigration. So Zadie Smith's in there, and Anita Rani, Mallory Blackman. There's all sorts of people that are contributors to this, and it looks really cool. So I'm going to read this, Good Immigrant. Lots of writing about the immigration in Britain. Again, immigration, but on a different kind of angle. I'm going to read African Europeans, An Untold History. When I found this, I was really excited to find it, and I'm almost certain I'm going to read this one. So this is a general TBR where I won't necessarily be able to read every book, but I'm definitely reading this. So this is a book that looks at the relationship between Africa and Europe, and how the different sides of the coin have shaped each side, and basically pretty much African immigration's impact on Europe mostly. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading that. So that's by Olivette Hotel. I'm finally going to read Persepolis. So I've kind of read this, but it was a while ago, and I don't think I gave it enough of my attention. So I'm going to read it again, and I'm really looking forward to this. I've got 2 copies. I've got another copy somewhere, but I like this because it's a graphic novel. I prefer it at a slightly larger size, so I quite like this copy. So yeah, I bought this knowing that I had another copy, but I like this more. So Persepolis I'm going to read as well. So if you don't know, this is a graphic novel that's an autobiographical account of somebody growing up in Iran, and it covers lots of political it covers the Iranian Revolution, and I think from what I remember, the girl moves to America as well, and it's that idea that she's not she doesn't feel like she belongs in either country, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm reading this again after a long gap, and I don't feel like I gave it enough attention when I did read it. I read it very quickly when I was younger, so I'm going to read it again. So that's part of my TBR as well. And then I've got some other things I'd like to get to. So I found this book, and it fits with lots of other things I've read over the years, and I couldn't resist it. American Radicalism from 1865 to 1901. So I'm going to read that, hopefully. And I don't know much about that period in American history, so a lot of that will be new to me, so that'd be cool. I'm going to read an Eric Hobsbawm book that I haven't read, so this is quite cool. So Viva la Revolution is about Latin America, and Latin America's relationship with North America, and it's Eric Hobsbawm, so I'm sure it's going to be brilliant. So I'm going to read that. I'm quite likely to read that one. I found this book, which was a book called Tragic Encounters, The People's History of the Native Americans, and it's lots of kind of first-hand accounts. So it's quite a big book, but it looks really good. So I was really pleased to find that. So we'll see how we get on with that one. But it's pretty big. But if I don't finish it, I'll definitely read some of this one. So Tragic Encounters is definitely one I want to read. I'd like to read 12 Years a Slave. So obviously slave accounts, first-hand accounts are really important, and I haven't read this. Obviously, famously, it was made into a film, but I've resisted seeing the film because I wanted to read it first. So yeah, this is a good excuse to read it now. So hopefully, I'm pretty certain I'm going to read that over the next few months. And then just to finish off, if I do get time, which again, there's lots there already, but I'd like to revisit one of my favourite books from my second year, when I did so much on Russian history, to read this awesome book by Richard Pipes called Russia Under the Bolshevik Regime, 1919 to 1924. It's a really good book, and and I've deliberately kept it. I've got rid of some of my history books from my degree, but I've deliberately kept it because I did want to read it again one day. So this could be the excuse that I need. So yeah, lots to look forward to. So I've really enjoyed doing the Historathon. I've been like overtaken by Garb August and other things like that over the last few months. So I haven't had as much of a grip on the Historathon, but it's a fantastic event, and I've been really pleased to be co-hosting it and putting up videos for it. And as I said, there will be a couple of themed videos coming up, as well as me reflecting on these books. So let me know what you think of those books, and tell me what history books you're going to read. If you're going to read some history books from 1820 to present day is the last quarter. Thanks for watching. Bye.